Like and subscribe for more content.
The bedrock of a functioning democracy rests on the active participation of its citizens. Voting, the fundamental act of civic engagement, empowers individuals to shape their government and influence the direction of their society. However, the path to exercising this right is not always straightforward. Navigating the intricacies of voter registration, understanding eligibility requirements, and mastering the voting procedures can be daunting, particularly given the variations across states. This section aims to demystify these processes, providing a clear and comprehensive guide to ensure every eligible citizen can confidently participate in the democratic process. Voter registration, the crucial first step in exercising the right to vote, is the process by which citizens formally enroll themselves on the official electoral rolls of their respective jurisdictions. The procedures and requirements for registration vary significantly across states, reflecting the decentralized nature of election administration in the United States. Some states employ a system of continuous registration, allowing eligible citizens to register at any time, while others operate under periodic registration deadlines, requiring citizens to register within a specific time frame before an election. Understanding the nuances of state-specific registration procedures is paramount. Many states offer online registration, providing a convenient and efficient method for citizens to enroll. However, the availability and specifics of online registration vary considerably. Some states might require digital signatures or other verification measures, while others might offer a simpler, streamlined process. In contrast, some states primarily rely on mail-in registration, requiring citizens to complete physical forms and mail them to their designated county election office. This method often entails longer processing times compared to online registration. In addition to these variations in registration methods, states also differ in their requirements for supporting documentation. While many states require proof of residency, such as a utility bill or driver's license, the specific types of acceptable documentation and the level of verification required can vary considerably. Some states may have stricter residency requirements than others, potentially leading to challenges for individuals who have recently moved or are temporarily residing in a different location. Understanding these state-specific requirements is crucial to ensure a successful and timely registration process. Failure to meet these requirements can result in a voter's registration being rejected, ultimately disenfranchising them from participating in the election. The consequences of improper documentation can range from simple delays in registration processing to outright rejection of the registration application. Beyond the registration procedures, understanding the eligibility requirements is essential for prospective voters. The fundamental criteria for eligibility are generally consistent across states: citizenship, age, and residency. All voters must be citizens of the United States. The minimum voting age is uniformly set at 18 years old nationwide, meaning individuals must reach this age before the election to be eligible to vote. Residency requirements, however, vary considerably from state to state. Some states might require a minimum residency period of 30 days, while others may impose significantly longer periods, often extending to several months or even a year. This variability can pose a significant challenge for individuals who are new residents or those who frequently move. Furthermore, states often impose additional restrictions on eligibility. For example, individuals convicted of felonies might face disenfranchisement, losing their right to vote. However, the specifics of felony disenfranchisement differ significantly across states. Some states automatically restore voting rights upon release from prison, while others might require completion of parole or probation, or even a separate application process. Additionally, some states permanently disenfranchise individuals convicted of specific types of felonies, while others might only impose temporary disenfranchisement. This patchwork of state-level regulations underscores the importance of thoroughly understanding the specific laws governing felony disenfranchisement in one's state of residence. The consequences of failing to understand these nuanced regulations can be particularly dire, leading to unintentional disenfranchisement and the loss of a fundamental right. Beyond felony disenfranchisement, individuals might also be ineligible to vote due to mental incapacitation or court-ordered commitment. These circumstances are handled differently across states, with some imposing broader disenfranchisement measures than others. The legal standards for determining mental incapacitation also vary widely, leading to further complexities in the application of these eligibility requirements. Again, consulting state-specific regulations is crucial for accurate assessment of one's eligibility to vote. Once registered and confirmed as eligible, voters must understand the voting procedures. This encompasses a broad spectrum of processes and methods, ranging from in-person voting at designated polling places to absentee voting by mail or early in-person voting. The availability of these options varies widely across states, influencing the voter experience and accessibility of the electoral process. In-person voting at polling places, the traditional method of casting a ballot, requires voters to attend designated polling locations on Election Day. These locations vary from state to state and often within states, with locations ranging from schools and community centers to dedicated polling stations. Understanding the location of one's assigned polling place is a crucial first step in in-person voting, with information often provided on voter registration cards or through state election websites. The accessibility of these polling places is a critical factor affecting voter turnout, especially for individuals with disabilities or limited mobility. Absentee voting, a method that allows voters to cast their ballots without physically attending a polling place, is another widely employed method. However, the rules and regulations surrounding absentee voting differ significantly across states. Some states require specific reasons for requesting an absentee ballot, such as illness or being away from one's residence, while others allow absentee voting without justification. The application process for absentee ballots also varies, with some states requiring voters to submit applications well in advance of Election Day, while others might offer shorter deadlines. Understanding these nuances is vital to ensure timely and successful absentee voting. Early in-person voting, a procedure allowing voters to cast their ballots at designated locations before Election Day, is another increasingly popular alternative. This method provides increased flexibility and convenience for voters, particularly those with busy schedules or those who prefer avoiding potential crowds on Election Day. Again, however, the availability and duration of early in-person voting periods vary significantly across states. Some states might offer early voting for a few weeks before Election Day, while others might have shorter periods or more restricted access. Beyond understanding the procedures for casting a ballot, voters also have rights and responsibilities. Voters have the right to vote without intimidation or coercion, and election officials are obligated to ensure a fair and secure voting process. Voters also have the responsibility to inform themselves about the candidates and issues on the ballot, to cast their votes thoughtfully and responsibly. Understanding the rights and responsibilities of voters is crucial to maintaining the integrity of the electoral process and safeguarding the fundamental right to vote. In conclusion, while the right to vote is a cornerstone of American democracy, the processes involved in registering, understanding eligibility criteria, and following voting procedures vary widely across states. Navigating this complexity requires careful attention to state-specific regulations and a proactive approach to ensuring one's right to participate in the democratic process is exercised effectively. Thorough research, proactive engagement with election officials, and an understanding of one's rights and responsibilities are essential for every eligible citizen who wishes to play an active role in shaping their future. The preceding sections have outlined the procedures for voter registration, eligibility requirements, and voting methods. However, the right to vote is not merely a procedural matter. It is a fundamental right, often fiercely contested and sometimes actively suppressed. This section delves into the potential obstacles to voting, examining the insidious tactics of voter suppression and the robust legal framework designed to protect this essential right. Voter suppression takes many forms, often subtly undermining the democratic process. One common tactic involves manipulating voting districts through gerrymandering, a process of redrawing electoral boundaries to favor a particular party or group. This can effectively dilute the voting power of certain communities, making it harder for their voices to be heard. While the Supreme Court has addressed gerrymandering in several cases, including Rucho v. Common Cause 2019, the issue remains a persistent challenge, particularly in states with partisan control over the redistricting process. The court's decision in Rucho highlighted the difficulties in establishing justiciable standards for partisan gerrymandering, leaving many to seek remedies through state-level litigation or legislative action. Another insidious form of voter suppression involves the strategic placement or removal of polling places. Restricting access to polling places, particularly in minority communities or areas with a high concentration of low-income voters, can create significant barriers to participation. Limited polling locations, coupled with long lines and inadequate staffing, can disenfranchise voters who lack the time or resources to overcome these obstacles. Legal challenges to such practices have been successful in some instances, where courts have mandated the provision of more accessible polling places. However, proving discriminatory intent, a necessary element in many such lawsuits, remains a significant hurdle. Strict voter ID laws also present substantial challenges to voters. While proponents argue these laws are necessary to prevent voter fraud, critics contend they disproportionately affect low-income individuals and minority groups who may lack the necessary identification documents. The impact of voter ID laws has been a subject of intense legal debate and litigation, with numerous cases reaching the Supreme Court. These cases often hinge on the balance between protecting the integrity of elections and ensuring equal access to the ballot box. The lack of a uniform national standard concerning acceptable identification further exacerbates the issue, resulting in considerable variation across jurisdictions. Furthermore, the complexity of election procedures and the variation across jurisdictions can create unintentional barriers to voting. Confusing instructions, limited language access, and inaccessible polling places pose significant challenges for many citizens. These difficulties disproportionately affect voters with disabilities, limited English proficiency, or those lacking readily available transportation or technological resources. Efforts to improve election accessibility, including providing multilingual materials, accessible polling places, and simplified registration processes, are crucial in ensuring broad participation. Litigation challenging inaccessible voting systems has played a significant role in mandating improvements in this area. Beyond these procedural obstacles, voter intimidation is a serious threat to the right to vote. Instances of intimidation, often targeting specific communities, undermine the democratic process and discourage participation. The use of threats, harassment, and even violence can effectively prevent individuals from exercising their right to vote, suppressing their voices, and distorting election outcomes. Combating voter intimidation necessitates robust enforcement of laws protecting voters from harassment and intimidation, and prompt and decisive action from law enforcement agencies when such actions are reported. Legal challenges to intimidation tactics can be pursued, but these often rely on the availability of evidence and witness testimony, making prosecution challenging. The Voting Rights Act of 1965, a landmark piece of legislation, aimed to address historic and systemic voter suppression tactics targeting racial minorities. The act prohibited discriminatory practices, such as literacy tests and poll taxes, which had long been used to disenfranchise black voters. The Supreme Court's decision in Shelby County v. Holder, 2013, significantly weakened the act's preclearance provision, removing the requirement for certain jurisdictions with a history of discrimination to obtain federal approval before implementing changes to their voting laws. This decision has resulted in renewed concerns about potential voter suppression tactics in these jurisdictions. Subsequent legal challenges have sought to address the resulting gap in protection, focusing on proving discriminatory intent and impact. The legal challenges to voter suppression tactics are often complex and nuanced, requiring a thorough understanding of constitutional law, federal and state statutes, and election procedures. The judiciary plays a vital role in adjudicating these cases, weighing competing interests and interpreting the constitutional guarantees of equal protection and the right to vote. Supreme Court decisions in this area have often yielded narrow majorities, demonstrating the contentious nature of these issues. The ongoing debate surrounding voter suppression highlights the persistent need for vigilance in protecting the fundamental right to vote and ensuring a fair and democratic electoral process. Legal scholars and civil rights advocates continue to engage in robust legal and political advocacy to address voter suppression. This includes filing lawsuits challenging restrictive voting laws, lobbying for legislation that enhances voting access, and engaging in voter education initiatives. The fight to protect the right to vote is a continuous endeavor, demanding ongoing vigilance and the active participation of citizens, legal professionals, and policymakers. Understanding the legal mechanisms for challenging voter suppression and the ongoing legal battles surrounding voting rights are vital in safeguarding this cornerstone of American democracy. The protection of the right to vote requires a multifaceted approach. It demands not only robust legal frameworks, but also the active engagement of citizens, election officials, and civil rights organizations. Voters must understand their rights and actively challenge attempts at disenfranchisement. Election officials have a responsibility to ensure fair and equitable access to the ballot box for all eligible citizens, and civil rights organizations play a critical role in monitoring election procedures, providing legal assistance to voters facing barriers, and advocating for policy changes that strengthen voting rights. The ongoing struggle to protect this fundamental right serves as a testament to its importance and the continued need for vigilant safeguarding of this cornerstone of American democracy. The future of voting rights requires continuous attention and adaptation to evolving challenges. Emerging technologies, changing demographics, and evolving political landscapes all necessitate a dynamic approach to protecting this essential right. Legal scholars, policymakers, and citizens must collaborate to ensure the right to vote remains a tangible reality for all eligible citizens, free from undue barriers and insidious suppression tactics. This vigilance, coupled with a commitment to fair and equitable election administration, will be crucial in preserving the integrity of the democratic process and ensuring the continued participation of all citizens in shaping the future of our nation. The right to vote is not merely a privilege, it is the foundation upon which our democratic republic stands, and its preservation is a responsibility we must collectively and continuously embrace. Understanding the intricacies of election laws and processes is crucial for informed civic engagement. While the right to vote is paramount, the mechanics of how elections are conducted and regulated significantly impact the fairness and efficacy of the democratic process. This section will unpack the legal framework governing elections in the United States, addressing campaign finance, the roles and responsibilities of election officials, and dispelling common myths surrounding the electoral system. Campaign finance regulations, designed to ensure transparency and prevent undue influence in elections, are a complex and often controversial area of law. The Federal Election Campaign Act, FECA, of 1971, along with various amendments and court interpretations, attempts to balance free speech rights with the need to prevent corruption and the appearance of corruption. FECA regulates contributions to and expenditures by candidates for federal office, political parties, and political action committees, PACs. It establishes limits on individual and group contributions, mandates disclosure requirements, and prohibits certain types of contributions, such as those from foreign nationals. The Supreme Court's decision in Buckley v. Valeo, 1976, significantly shaped the landscape of campaign finance law, upholding restrictions on campaign contributions, but striking down limits on campaign expenditures, reasoning that such limits infringed on free speech rights. This decision led to the rise of independent expenditure groups, which can spend unlimited amounts of money to support or oppose candidates, as long as they do not coordinate directly with the campaigns. Subsequent court cases, including Citizens United v. Federal Election Commission, 2010, further broadened the scope of independent expenditures, leading to increased spending in elections and raising concerns about the influence of money in politics. The Citizens United decision sparked a significant debate about the role of money in politics, with critics arguing that it has allowed wealthy donors and corporations to exert undue influence on elections. Proponents, on the other hand, maintain that the decision protects free speech and that limiting campaign spending would stifle political discourse. The ongoing debate surrounding campaign finance reform continues to shape legal and political battles, with ongoing efforts to amend FICA and implement alternative regulatory approaches. State-level campaign finance laws also vary significantly, creating a complex patchwork of regulations across the country. Beyond campaign finance, the role of election officials is vital to the integrity of the electoral process. These officials, at the federal, state, and local levels, are responsible for administering elections, registering voters, maintaining voter rolls, and ensuring the fair and accurate counting of ballots. Their responsibilities encompass a wide range of tasks, from overseeing voter registration drives to conducting audits of election results. The qualifications, responsibilities, and powers of election officials vary across jurisdictions, but their common goal is to ensure the smooth and transparent execution of elections. The impartiality and competence of election officials are crucial to maintaining public trust in the electoral process. Allegations of bias or incompetence can undermine public confidence and lead to challenges to election results. Measures to ensure the professionalization of election administration, including providing adequate training, resources, and oversight, are essential for preserving the integrity of elections. Independent oversight bodies and audits of election procedures can play a significant role in promoting transparency and accountability. Common misconceptions about the electoral system frequently arise, often fueled by misinformation and partisan rhetoric. One common misconception is the belief that voter fraud is widespread and significantly impacts election outcomes. While instances of voter fraud do occur, studies consistently demonstrate that it is exceedingly rare and does not affect the outcome of elections. Claims of widespread voter fraud often lack evidence and are used to justify restrictive voting laws that can disproportionately affect certain groups of voters. Another frequent misconception concerns the accuracy of voting machines and electronic voting systems. While concerns about the security and reliability of voting machines are legitimate, rigorous testing and safeguards are in place to ensure the accuracy of election results. The use of paper trails and post-election audits helps to verify the accuracy of electronic voting systems, mitigating the risk of errors or manipulation. The continued development and implementation of secure voting technologies are crucial to maintaining public trust in the electoral process. The process of recounting votes, often requested in close elections, is another area where misconceptions can arise. Recounts are governed by state law, and the procedures vary across jurisdictions. While recounts can sometimes change the outcome of an election, they are typically conducted under strict supervision to ensure accuracy and fairness. The statistical likelihood of a recount significantly altering the outcome of an election, except in exceptionally close races, is relatively low. Finally, the role of the Electoral College in presidential elections is frequently misunderstood. The Electoral College is a system where presidential electors, chosen by each state, cast votes for president, rather than a direct popular vote. This system has been a source of debate, with critics arguing that it can lead to a president being elected without winning the popular vote. While this has occurred on several occasions, the Electoral College remains a fundamental component of the U.S. presidential election process. Understanding election laws and processes is essential for informed participation in the democratic process. By dispelling common misconceptions and appreciating the complexities of campaign finance regulations and the roles of election officials, citizens can become more effective advocates for election reform and contribute to a more fair and transparent electoral system. The ongoing evolution of election laws and technologies necessitates a continuous effort to stay informed and engage in constructive dialogue about improving the democratic process. The preservation of a robust and accessible electoral system is a shared responsibility, demanding active engagement from citizens, election officials, and policymakers alike. The right to vote is a cornerstone of American democracy, but true civic engagement extends far beyond casting a ballot every few years. A vibrant and functioning democracy requires an informed and active citizenry participating in the myriad ways available to shape their communities and influence their government. This active participation fosters a stronger sense of community, improves the responsiveness of government to citizen needs, and strengthens the overall health of the democratic system. One of the most readily accessible avenues for civic engagement is participation in local government. Local government directly impacts the daily lives of citizens more than any other level of government. From zoning regulations and public safety to schools and parks, local governments manage essential services and shape the character of communities. Engaging with local government can take many forms, including attending town hall meetings, participating in public hearings, contacting elected officials, and running for office oneself. Local elections often have lower voter turnout than national elections, making individual participation even more impactful. By attending local government meetings, citizens can directly voice their concerns, offer input on policy decisions, and hold elected officials accountable. Beyond attending meetings, actively contacting elected officials is a crucial form of civic engagement. Whether it's an email, a phone call, or a letter, direct communication allows citizens to express their opinions on specific issues, advocate for particular policies, or simply provide feedback on government programs. It is vital to be respectful and concise in communications with elected officials, clearly stating your position and supporting it with factual information. Local officials are generally more accessible than those at the state or federal level, making direct communication a particularly effective method of engagement at the local level. Organized grassroots efforts, such as neighborhood associations or community groups, can also amplify the impact of citizen voices by presenting collective concerns to local officials. Advocacy is another powerful tool for civic engagement. Advocacy involves actively working to influence policy decisions at all levels of government. This can involve supporting specific legislation, lobbying elected officials, joining or creating advocacy groups, or participating in public awareness campaigns. Effective advocacy requires research and a clear understanding of the political process. Understanding how legislation is drafted, introduced, and debated is crucial for effective advocacy. Engaging with advocacy groups provides individuals with access to resources, expertise, and a network of like-minded individuals. Participating in peaceful protests, rallies, and marches is another form of advocacy that can bring attention to important issues and create momentum for change. The ability to organize and mobilize others is a key skill for effective advocacy. Community involvement is an equally important aspect of civic engagement. Volunteering time and resources to local organizations and initiatives enriches community life, strengthens social bonds, and builds a stronger, more resilient community. Community involvement encompasses a vast spectrum of activities, from volunteering at a local food bank or homeless shelter to participating in neighborhood cleanups or community garden projects. Supporting local businesses and participating in community events also contributes to a vibrant and thriving community. The benefits of community involvement extend beyond the immediate impact on the community. It also fosters a stronger sense of belonging, builds social capital, and enhances personal well-being. Furthermore, involvement in community projects allows citizens to develop valuable skills and build relationships with others. Staying informed is critical for effective civic participation. Informed citizenry is the bedrock of a healthy democracy. A well-informed citizen understands the issues, can critically evaluate information from various sources, and can make reasoned judgments. A constant stream of information is available through news media, academic studies, and government documents. However, it is important to be discerning in choosing information sources. Reliable and unbiased sources of information are essential for forming well-informed opinions. Furthermore, citizens must be critical consumers of information, scrutinizing sources for potential bias and verifying facts. The ability to distinguish credible information from misinformation is increasingly important in today's digital age. The digital age has also revolutionized civic engagement, providing new avenues for participation. Online platforms and social media allow citizens to connect with each other, organize events, and communicate their views to a wider audience. Online petitions and digital advocacy campaigns can reach a large number of people and create rapid mobilization around important issues. However, it's important to be aware of potential pitfalls of online engagement, including the spread of misinformation and online harassment. Digital literacy is crucial for effectively navigating the online world and using it for productive civic participation. Participating in jury duty is another vital aspect of civic engagement, serving as a direct engagement with the justice system. Jury duty is a fundamental responsibility of citizenship. By serving on a jury, citizens contribute to the fairness and impartiality of the legal system. Understanding the jury selection process and the importance of unbiased judgments is crucial for fulfilling this civic duty. Jury service also provides citizens with a first-hand understanding of the legal process and the challenges faced by the justice system. Finally, running for public office, while a more significant commitment, is perhaps the most direct form of civic engagement. Seeking elective office represents a profound commitment to public service. The process of campaigning, engaging with constituents, and formulating policies provides a deep understanding of the political process and the needs of the community. Running for office, whether at the local, state, or national level, requires considerable time, resources, and dedication, but it offers the potential for significant impact on the lives of others. In conclusion, civic participation extends far beyond simply voting. It encompasses a wide array of activities, from engaging with local government to volunteering in the community and advocating for policy change. A robust and healthy democracy depends on the active and informed participation of its citizens. By embracing diverse opportunities for engagement, citizens can build stronger communities, strengthen their democracy, and create a more just and equitable society. The various avenues for civic participation outlined above offer numerous ways for citizens to become actively involved and make a meaningful difference in their communities and beyond. The more engaged the citizenry, the more responsive and representative their government will be. The long-term health and vitality of American democracy rests on the shoulders of its citizens. Advocating for your rights and interests is a crucial aspect of civic engagement, extending the principles of voting and community involvement into proactive efforts to shape policy and influence government decisions. This involves understanding the legal and political landscape, employing effective communication strategies, and leveraging the power of collective action. Individual advocacy can be powerful, but organized, collective efforts often yield significantly greater impact. One of the first steps in effective advocacy is understanding your rights. This involves familiarizing yourself with relevant laws and regulations at the local, state, and federal levels. The Bill of Rights, enshrined in the First Amendment, guarantees fundamental rights such as freedom of speech, religion, the press, assembly, and the right to petition the government. Understanding these rights is crucial, as they form the bedrock of any advocacy effort. Knowing your rights equips you to identify when those rights are violated and to take appropriate action to redress the situation. Beyond the Bill of Rights, numerous federal and state laws protect citizens' rights in various aspects of life, from employment discrimination to consumer protection. Accessing and understanding these laws can be challenging, but resources are available to assist. Government websites, legal aid organizations, and law libraries offer information and assistance to citizens seeking to understand their rights. Many nonprofit organizations specialize in specific areas of rights advocacy, providing expertise and support to individuals facing legal challenges. Understanding relevant statutes, case law, and regulatory agencies is key to effective advocacy. For instance, knowing the procedures for filing a complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, EEOC, is crucial for someone facing employment discrimination. Similarly, Understanding the consumer protection laws of your state is vital if you've been victimized by fraudulent business practices. Effective communication is essential for successful advocacy. This includes the ability to clearly articulate your concerns, present evidence to support your claims, and persuade others to adopt your perspective. Whether you are communicating with a government official, a member of the media, or a fellow citizen, clear and concise communication is key. This involves being respectful and professional in your interactions, even when expressing strongly held opinions. Strong written communication skills are also important, as many advocacy efforts involve submitting written statements, letters, or petitions. The ability to craft compelling narratives that resonate with your audience is crucial for garnering support for your cause. Advocacy often involves engaging with government officials at various levels. This can range from writing letters to elected officials to attending public hearings and testifying before legislative committees. When contacting elected officials, it's important to be specific in your requests, providing concrete examples and data to support your claims. It is also helpful to tailor your message to the specific concerns of the official you are contacting, demonstrating that you understand their priorities and perspectives. Attending public hearings and testifying allows you to directly address policymakers and voice your concerns in a public forum. Preparing your testimony in advance, organizing your points logically, and practicing your delivery can greatly enhance the effectiveness of your testimony. Collective action significantly amplifies the voice of individuals. Joining or forming advocacy groups allows you to pool resources, share expertise, and coordinate efforts to achieve shared goals. Many successful advocacy campaigns rely on the collective action of individuals working together to achieve a common objective. Joining established organizations provides access to pre-existing networks, resources, and expertise, making it easier to organize campaigns and mobilize supporters. Creating new advocacy groups can be more challenging, but allows for greater control over the group's agenda and activities. Successful collective action often involves strategic planning, effective communication, and the mobilization of broad-based support. Participating in protests, marches, and rallies provides a powerful way to demonstrate public support for a cause and to put pressure on decision-makers. Such actions are a form of protected speech under the First Amendment, but it's crucial to participate lawfully and peacefully. Understanding the rules and regulations governing public demonstrations in your community is vital to ensure compliance with the law. Working within the framework of the law ensures the effectiveness of the demonstration while maintaining public safety. Furthermore, ensuring that the demonstration is well organized, inclusive, and respectful contributes to its positive reception by the wider community and policymakers. The digital age has opened up new avenues for advocacy. Online platforms and social media can be powerful tools for organizing, mobilizing, and communicating with a broad audience. Creating online petitions, launching social media campaigns, and using online tools to gather data can significantly enhance advocacy efforts. Digital advocacy tools can help reach a much wider audience than traditional methods, but it is important to be aware of the potential pitfalls of online engagement, such as misinformation and online harassment. Practicing digital literacy and critical thinking are essential for utilizing digital tools effectively and responsibly. Legal recourse is another avenue for advocating for your rights. If your rights have been violated, you may need to pursue legal action to seek redress. This can involve filing lawsuits, appealing court decisions, or participating in administrative proceedings. Navigating the legal system can be complex and challenging, but legal aid organizations and attorneys can provide assistance and guidance. Understanding the legal processes involved, the burdens of proof, and the potential remedies available is crucial for effective legal advocacy. Documentation is paramount. Meticulously recording incidents, communicating with relevant parties in writing, and preserving relevant evidence are vital steps in any legal action. In conclusion, advocating for your rights and interests requires a multifaceted approach. Understanding your rights, employing effective communication, engaging in collective action, and potentially pursuing legal recourse are all important aspects of successful advocacy. By actively participating in the political and legal processes, and by utilizing both traditional and digital avenues of advocacy, individuals and groups can effectively influence policy decisions and create a more just and equitable society. The power of advocacy rests in the informed and proactive engagement of citizens who are committed to making a difference. A well-informed and engaged citizenry is the cornerstone of a vibrant and responsive democracy. Active participation in the processes outlined above empowers individuals and communities to achieve meaningful change and create a more just and equitable society for all.
Like and subscribe to support the channel. Donations welcome.